Well, as the coronavirus outbreak continues to wreak havoc on the economy, the Senate is set to vote on an emergency bill to ease the financial stress for Americans. I do now want to bring in the president of the Job Creators Network Foundation, Elaine Parker, to talk more about the impact of this outbreak. Hi, Elaine. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Greta. Thanks so much for having me.
Small businesses here in the U.S. are being hit especially hard by this epidemic, from lower demand for their product or their service to the burden of providing paid sick leave for their employees. What are three key policy measures the Job Creators Network is focusing on that would help alleviate financial consequences and uncertainty during this crisis?
So the Job Creators Network is a national small business advocacy organization, and we're focused on three key measures, and that's expediting low interest or no interest small business loans that are actually executed right at the local bank level and collateralized by the U.S. Treasury. The second issue that we're focused on is federally backed unemployment insurance to act as a safety net for employees who are adversely affected and may be laid off as a result of this crisis. And the last thing is the payroll tax holiday, which will help small businesses as well as their employees of companies that are under 100 employees. And the name of the game here, Greta, is cash flow for small businesses. Cash is king right now, and we need to figure out ways to get cash in the hands of small businesses so that they can keep their operations open and keep paying employees.
You mentioned the payroll tax holiday, and the White House is considering several options to help workers who are out of work, one of those being that payroll tax cut, another being a direct payment to employees to help relieve some of their financial burden. How would those measures from Congress and by the White House help Americans who are possibly out of work amid this outbreak?
Well, sure. I mean, the reality is for employees who have already been laid off, and certainly the restaurant industry is taking probably the hardest hit because people are staying home and not going out. So for those people, they need to get cash in their hands as fast as possible, and we are supportive of those checks. We just want to make sure that they're targeted and they go to the people who are most hurt right now. And so again, we support that measure. We don't think it's an either or on any of these measures. We probably think it's going to be an all of the above at this point going forward. And we're also very happy that Secretary Mnuchin today actually approved to defer all federal income tax payments for 90 days. And that goes a long way to not only helping ordinary Americans, but small business owners who were looking at making their first quarter payment on April 15th. They have set aside that money to make that payment. So what that does is frees up that money so that they can put it towards keeping their doors open, operations, and ultimately payroll for their employees.
We've heard President Trump highlight small businesses and how they've been hit hard by this outbreak. He's working to help them by offering $50 billion in loans through the Small Business Administration. Do you think that will be enough, or will there be more that needs to be done for small businesses in the U.S.?
I mean, I think that first off, we need to get through this healthcare crisis. And once we start to see the numbers of coronavirus incidences reduce, we'll start to see people stop panicking, and there'll be pent-up consumption, and most people get out there. But there's going to have to be a recovery for Main Street in this sense. We can call it a Main Street Recovery Act, and we need to start thinking about what that looks like. There will be businesses that close their jobs, get back to their feet.
Elaine, I do want to switch gears real quickly. The Labor Department released their JOLTS report today showing the number of available jobs in the U.S. did surge in January. That, of course, was before the coronavirus outbreak hit the U.S., though, showing the U.S. labor market was really solid right before this outbreak began here. What kind of change can we expect to see in the jobs market following this outbreak?
I think we should prepare for, so people are going to lose their jobs. There's no doubt about it, and businesses are going to close, and that's why we need a Main Street bailout. This time we need to figure out how to help businesses who end up closing their doors get back on their feet, reopen their businesses, reopen new businesses. That federal unemployment insurance, helping the states with employees who lose their jobs and maybe suffer more long-term employment as a result, that goes far beyond the amendment to the Family Leave Act with the paid leave. So there's a lot of options out there, but there's, like I mentioned, there's 30 million small business owners and they employ 60 million people. So we've got 90 million people dependent on the success of small business.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.